my God, everyone is just upset everywhere. That's how I would describe today. Everyone is upset everywhere all the time. Not everywhere. What is it? Like everyone everywhere all at once. It's like everyone just upset all at once.
Yes.
That's today.
Everyone's angry everywhere all the time, all at once. I can't believe. Hi, we record. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening, I probably sound a little bit different because we are recording this Wednesday evening because Andretti and F1 news has occurred, and it couldn't happen the day before when we record because that would be too convenient for our lives. And also, I think just yesterday was all the like, Andretti's steps of what they're still doing. And then F1 and Liberty Media were like, all right, time to shut them up. But I can't believe this just didn't happen 24 hours before it happened.
I know the podcast is supposed to go live in 7 hours, and we're recording like a bonus live reaction. Like, historic. Like every time we talk about this, I think we have to divide into two different things. There's like our analysis of what's actually going on, and then I think there's what we want and things like that. Like my analysis of what's actually going on is that this is more a battle between F1 and the FIA. Because if we go all the way back to when the FIA announced that they were opening up the process for new teams, and F1 immediately came out and said, we don't want more teams right now. And then, shocker, you get to the end of the FIA's process, and F1 goes, we still told you we don't want more teams right now. And it all connects back to the fact that in 2026, the Concord Agreement is up, and F1 wants to raise the entry fee for new teams. So F1's quote saying that they will reconsider them again in 2028 when GM is going to be theoretically an engine manufacturer, which we've only heard from the FIA and from this F1 announcement, and not actually from GM. But okay, that to me it all just screams that F1 is trying to push this off until they can raise the entry fee. And F1 is in a squabble with the FIA over all of this to begin with, and it actually has nothing to do with Andretti.
Yeah, I feel the same. It definitely feels like a game of chess between F1 and the FIA, and the piece that's moving amongst them is Andretti. I think Andretti's very much felt like they were like in the pocket with the FIA, and they're like, haha, it's gonna be great, and planning to do other things before F1 or Liberty Media gave their proper response. I loved Liberty Media's response of just like, nope, we don't think that they've demonstrated, proper value and things like that. Like it was so much of their previous statements and implications about like another team joining the grid, and they're just like, no, we still don't see the value. We don't see this benefit in the sport at all. So I think they've been very consistent with that, and the FIA has continued to not really care or like continue to cross the boundary into Liberty Media's domain of things, and like really tried to like strong arm them into this decision. And it was for, I guess, a little while, you and I discussed that like maybe it could happen because there was so much pressure. I'm very proud of Liberty Media to be like, no, bye. Like I wish you did it yesterday, but like, no. It was like
right.
Yeah,
I don't want to make it seem like I don't want Andretti. I just have always been on team, I want 10 competitive cars, and adding another customer team to the grid didn't feel like a good choice in making another competitive team. Now I know, and I hear, and I've read all day everyone screaming about like, well, Stake F1 isn't a competitive team, and I agree with that. We don't have enough competitive teams on the grid, but adding more uncompetitive teams isn't the solution, in my opinion. But all of this, again, like, is commenting on the Andretti of it all. And I just don't think it matters. I think if Andretti went about this process in a way where they were working with Liberty, it probably would have still hit this impasse, because guess what? FOM, Formula One management, and the FIA are really not getting along right now.
Right.
And Chess was the perfect example, because Andretti's just this pawn that's getting slapped between them to see, like, the FIA was trying to get FOM to budge and give in to them, and they said no. And yeah. I genuinely believe they're going to pass a Concord Agreement in 2026, which is the agreement between all the teams and the operational body, and that's going to say it now costs $1 million if you want a new team instead of whatever. Okay, it's like, I think it's $250 million right now, and I think they want to make it much more, like double that. And then guess what? We're probably going to get Andretti on the grid for 2028 with GM as an engine manufacturer. And all of this headache was just about like
who could
people
win
squabbling.
in the like arm wrestling contest between FOM and the FIA. I agree. It's very easy also to make it the Andretti headline just because it's like the racing
The big
royal
name.
family and it's just like sexy story if you spin it that way. But it does just feel like the two organizations that have been in a very public conflict about things. And particularly in this one, that it just feels like a game of chess.
And I do want to read one thing we got, which was having the opportunity to consider the applicant's responses together with our own deliberations. We subsequently wrote the applicant on the 12th of December, 2023, extending an invitation to an in-person meeting in our offices in order for the applicant to present its application. But the applicant did not take up on this offer. Now, Andretti doesn't have to take them up on it. Maybe there was like a timing. Maybe F1 like didn't really mean it. Like I'm sure there's so much political dealing. But to me, the fact that Andretti refused to have this meeting shows me just how much of a political game this is between the FIA and F1 versus Andretti doing absolutely everything they possibly can. Like if you were doing absolutely everything you possibly can, you just at least show up and accept the meeting. Even if you're like, oh, well, I'm going to go and they're just going to tell me no to my face, at least you then can say you went. But like this clearly whole thing reads Andretti is the pawn and it has nothing to do with them.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I agree. I'm intrigued to see now, like how the FIA will continue to respond and just the continued back and forth. But wow, it's not.
This is not done.
No way is this even close to done.
No. Oh, I will also throw out that apparently F1 stock was down more than 1% today, based on this like news and announcement.
Oh.
I mean, it's 1%, and I'm sure it's going to bounce back tomorrow or whatever it is. But I don't think F1 is genuine in their Andretti wouldn't help us argument. And I think it is. Okay, I do think having the Andretti name, if marketed well, isn't a bad thing for F1.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think the stock going down shows that at least some investors believe that F1 made a poor business decision today by at least rejecting them as publicly as they did. It was a bad PR move at the bare minimum.
Okay. I still think they
made the right decision.
Right. That's with all the asterisks of it would still need to be competitive. Like all of the things, there's all of the things that we've already discussed as to why they couldn't. But that's really interesting because I feel so strongly about the rest of the like meaning of it all, of having the addition of the team and the way that like FIA has gone about all of it is I want to kind of be like, no, and scream it loud from the rooftops. But I guess I can see how, dealing with a name like Andretti can have that sort of effect. I didn't really think about it that way.
You've read all day on social media how violently upset fans were about this. And I completely get that like fans aren't always looking at the like back dealings and like being pro Andretti is being pro FIA, which in any other circumstance, no one would want to take the FIA. Like I think it was incredibly smart of the FIA to put FOM in this decision where to make the quote unquote right business decision today, they had to take this PR hit that is shown in their stock at least today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like, we just did a whole segment on Andretti and we're probably the most positive segment on the entire internet about this decision. And we weren't positive about it. We were like, yeah, Andretti would be cool. Like there are other worse teams on the grid, but like we completely understand why F1 made this decision. And that's the everyone else is just going to be slamming this. So I completely.
Well, really think about how this has all been going on. And if you watch every other segment we've ever done about Andretti on this podcast,
I'll link the playlist right here.
Yes, please check out the playlist because it really kind of sets we're reacting very much exactly as I would expect we would.
We had our business brains on. But I get Right, but I get the American motorsport, like, emotional side of it. Like, yeah, you know what it is? It's if I could flip out Haas for Andretti right now, I would do it in a heartbeat.
I agree. I 100% agree.
Right.
Again, it's
If
not
I
like,
could,
it's not Andretti. That was the problem of the whole thing.
no.
Yeah.
Oh my god, like, make, FIA, if you really want to do this, force Red Bull to sell their second team to Andretti.
Visa catch up, Red Bull Junior.
Thank you for watching this highlight from an episode of Gridwalk. Subscribe for weekly Formula One content. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Like the video to make Nicole and Brianna extra happy. And click the link to listen to the full episode. We will be back to walk the Formula One grid every Thursday. See you then.